This is Mike from Spotlight on Ukraine. I would like to welcome Marichka. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from before you came to the States?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria or Marichka. It's a Ukrainian version of my name. And I came to United States about 2.5 years ago. When the war broke out, I was in Ukraine and in Kiev. I'm from Kiev. And unfortunately, my family, we decided to go to the suburbs of Kiev to, kind of sit and wait what will be happening next. And it was obviously a bad idea because we all know about Bucha and Irpin and what happened there. So I stuck in the village of my grandma for a month and a half, I think, until the green corridor were open and we were able to leave pretty much safely. And after that, when I arrived back to Kiev, I started applying to different programs to continue my studies. I was enrolled in my Ukrainian university, Kiev Mohila Academy, but I also wanted to check out the European experience, other countries, and the war was going on, so it kind of was a good time to leave Ukraine and see what happened next. So I've got a scholarship in Germany first. I came there, studied there 1 semester, and after that, I realized that, okay, maybe there is one more opportunity. I applied for other scholarship, and I've got a huge one here in the United States in Allegheny College, Pennsylvania. I spent there the entire academic year. And after that, I had some opportunities to legally do internships. So obviously, I used all of that opportunities. I made internships in three different companies, in DC and two in one in DC and two in California. And after that, when I was able to reapply for extension of my status called TPS, temporary protection status, I've become a full-time activist with different delegations and obviously actions on the streets.
When you said something about when you became a full-time activist, can you start over at that point because it stopped there? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So after I finished my internships
Yeah.
and my status expired, there was an opportunity, and it was a real luck because the previous administration, Biden administration, announced that I'm also now eligible for the status called TPS, which is temporary protection status, which will give me the opportunity to be here legally until the things are bad in Ukraine, and also opportunity to work. So I will be able to, feed myself and have a place to stay. So I immediately applied for that status. And while I was searching for the job and other opportunities to have money, and when I was waiting for my documents, I've become a full-time activist for Ukraine. Since I moved to DC, I saw the Capitol Hill, and I first time got to know what advocacy looks like, that I actually can go to congressional offices, lead different delegations, introduce, Ukrainian military, survivors of war, or anyone else to them. And I found it kind of my passion. And also, obviously, I continued the movement on the streets, which is like demonstrations, exhibitions, peaceful protests, and so on and so forth. And also, obviously, cultural diplomacy. And that's how I actually met you, Mike. It was a Cultural Forces of Ukraine 16 states tour, which were Cultural Forces of Ukraine. It's a Ukrainian military, but before the war, they were also artists, musicians, and they were touring United States, performing in churches, schools, on the streets to everyone, and saying thank you for Americans to support Ukraine. So all kind of stuff. I started doing that, and then it just turns out to be my job, just because I do that all the time and so very often.
Yeah, I perhaps will have Taras on here soon, but I'm not. We have to work out a time because I'm not sure if he's still active military or what he's doing right now. So he should be on here soon, I'm hoping. I tried to get in contact with Sasha. Maybe that'll work too. Anyway, so tell me about this cultural forces. I mean, I personally know about it, but tell the people what that's all about.
Yeah, so basically, once again, cultural forces is something a little similar to American USO, but not that much, because it's actually the kind of a military NGO slash brigade. So they are part of Ukraine Armed Forces, and it all started basically from them performing on the front lines for other soldiers to keep their spirit up. So that was the main idea, and they have puppeteers, they had singers, bandura players. Bandura, it's 62 strings instrument, very similar to guitar, but has many more strings,
Yeah.
right? Opera singers, piano players, different kinds of musicians. And so after that, the commander of this cultural forces, Mykolai Sriga, he decided that it would be cool to present something like this to United States and go and do the tour of gratitude to the US, because American people have been supporting us a lot through this fight. And he decided to show the what we are fighting for and who these people are, because these guys who are the part of cultural forces, they were also musicians
Yeah.
and soldiers before they become a part of cultural forces. Mykolai basically found them, someone in a hospital or at home, because they were injured in that or other way. So we have Oля Rukavishnikova, who lost her eye in the front line and has a lot of pieces of shrapnel in her body. We have Yuri Vaskevich, who is an opera singer, but he lost his leg, and now he was performing basically here in the United States on his prosthetic leg, which is quite impressive. Um, so yeah, and all this are real people. They have families. They have the background of being not military at all. This is not professional military. This is the people who decided to step up for their country and for what's right. So their personal stories were kind of impressive as well. And so he just brought them here for the first tour. It was a little bit smaller than the second one. And after the huge success, in 2 months they returned back with a big tour, which I joined personally. We covered 16 states and I believe 50 cities or something like this. It was immense. We had, 3/5 performances a day, radio stations, many interviews, very different audiences, more conservative ones and otherwise. So that was truly something. The biggest highlight, which might be interesting to people and also quite impressive. So this is the very interesting story. On the 18th of November, we were in California, in San Francisco. This was the last day, and the entire team were flying back home to Ukraine. I'm living here, that's why I stayed, and I had a mission. We had a rented car, so I had to brought that car from California back to New York to return it. And also in California, I have my host family, with who I've been living while I was working in California. Remember, I was doing internship in San Francisco. And so I knew that my host dad has his best friend who is a front man of the Metallica band. So, and one of the Bandura guys from Cultural Forces, Taras, which hopefully you will talk to him too. He has his one of his best performances, very famous and loved for with everyone, is playing "Nothing Else Matters" by Metallica on Bandura. So I said to my host dad, like, hey, can we just send this video of this guy playing Nothing Else Matters on Bandura? Because it's quite impressive to James from Metallica. And he's like, yes, let's do it. So we sent it. And the next day, Metallica posted this video on their socials and it gained, I think, 5 million views or something.
Yeah, I remember when
So
they come out. Yeah.
yeah, so that was quite impressive. And another thing was meeting with Sean Penn and Sting. So basically, after Taras privately performed for Sting, he said like, "Hey, man, tomorrow I have a concert in LA. What about you perform Shape of My Heart with me on one stage tomorrow in front of the like 2 or 3 thousand people?" And so guess what they did? They did. Just next day we woke up, they did like a rehearsal in the morning, and then he just performed in the evening in front of all that audience. So they actually Cultural Forces of Ukraine, they just released a movie in Thanks We Trust. It's a documentary about these two trips, and we were promising we will be sending everyone who signed up. It's not yet open to everyone. They just do premieres in Ukraine right now, but I think in a week or two it will be available here. So I'll be happy to share it with you, and
Yeah.
you will see like all the things I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, so I will post that to the channel or something. I don't know how we'll do it, but yeah, we'll figure something out. Um, didn't one of the members also do something like a show or like an impromptu concert in front of you two?
Oh yeah, so this just recently, Mykolai Serga again through his contacts, because through the second trip we met at Sean Penn's house, and we performed for Sean Penn, for his guests, friends, and I feel like the connection between Cultural Forces and Sean Penn got more, strong, and he and his friends from YouTube band, they just advocated for them to be on the Cannes Film Festival, and they went to this event, and of course they not just show up on the red carpet, but they also like privately performed for Bono and like for again everyone else who were in the after party room. So that was again quite impressive, and we're so grateful that there's people who have such a lot of followers and a lot of power, are bringing this pure talents to make sure they're seen and heard.
So let me ask you, what do you think it will take for this to end? I mean, just your opinion.
Yeah, so I'm not a politician, I'm just an activist, but I am from Ukraine. And I know better than anyone else that Russia has been trying to, fight Ukraine not only from 2014, but for decades. They they just want Ukraine, and that's it. They're sick. They have these sick ambitions, and they just can't agree that Ukraine was actually an independent country, which were evolving very, very fast. Like after we got independence in 1991, it was something totally different after the Soviet Union
Yeah,
collapsed,
one
and
thing
we
that a lot of people fail to remember is before they got their independence, they were part of Soviet Union, but yet before that, they were Ukraine and or Kiev Rus or what have you. But they were their own country almost 900 years before Russia even existed. So there's only out of Ukraine's existence of probably over 1,000 years that, or yeah, much more than that probably, that only 100 of it, or not even 100, have been under Moscow control. And I think it's a lot, because people are always talking, I mean, yourself and a lot of people are always talking about, we gained independence in 1991, but before 1920, they were independent as well. And a lot of people, I mean, I know when I went to school, our world history only taught us Moscow, Soviet Union. Of course, when I was in school, it was Soviet Union. Um, so, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to get with this, but I just want people to understand that it was their own country well before Soviet Union. But what I mean, I guess without getting political, how do we end this?
So yeah, so first of all, you're absolutely right. We were independent all this time. Just we our Ukrainian Republic were also a part of the Soviet Union, right? But we were an independent republic still, and all these attempts from Russia to destroy our language, our culture, it's been going on and on and on for decades, and it just continues right now in a more of like full-scale invasion when they try not only to erase our identity but also to take our land, to just kill our people, our kids, and everything else basically. Because what's they're getting, like they destroyed completely some cities. They just wiped them out of the map, and it's definitely not something as they claim to be saving people or whatever. But for sure, the thing which, right, you know, again, it's not me trying to be political, but the current president and his goal, like, when he was trying to become a president, he was saying all the time, peace through strength, right? And so we Ukrainians agree with that. We want to see that. We understand that the only way to win this war is to put pressure on Russia, and pressure means sanctions. And like sanctions to that extent that they will not be able to buy anything, they will be able to sell anything. And now they're still doing that with many countries, including European countries. Someone is still buying Russian gas, right? So we just give the opportunity for them to continue the war. That's the problem. We just give them money. And
Well,
so we need more extensive sanctions.
yeah, I agree that there should be sanctions, but I feel like, I mean, granted, well, like I said, without getting political, I I do support Trump, but I don't support how he is handling Ukraine because I do believe in the Budapest Memorandum that was done years ago. If people would, if countries, not people, but if the countries would support their promise, then this war would not be happening right now. Um,
Many people,
Sanctions would be okay, but we need to give better weapons, I think. Um, More weapons. Uh, Certain airplanes, I would not expect Ukrainian pilots to fly, but I mean, without giving American actual support, it would be hard to fly certain planes because some of the planes that I've thought about, they need, it would take too long to learn. Mainly like the A-10 and things like that. It would take way too long for pilots to learn those. Um, Short of weapons, if we think about what happened, was it, I want to say in the first year of the war, there was that gas line uh, got temporarily destroyed and underwater, or no, something was destroyed underwater, some gas line or something. Uh, and then I think Kiev tried to do something kind of. They wanted to postpone stopping the fuel going across Ukraine. And when they finally did it, I think it was almost too late 'cause I think they already had a secondary means of transporting gas, and it's probably obviously going through Belarus. But there would have to be some way to even stop that, whether it be by sabotage or whatever, or maybe by drones. I mean,
yeah, definitely drones will be leading this war. It's very cheap to get them. It's very easy to transport them, and you can have as many as possible. Like one FPV drone is just $400. So that's for sure something which
I guess
Ukraine
I'm
more
wrong.
weapons it needs to defend itself. We still don't see, these promises to become truth, and so that's very sad. But also, except sanctions and more weapons for Ukraine, we also need, Russia to collapse basically, because what they have is they just are poor people and using the last money they have and everything, to do this unnecessary war. And then, they also oppressing the minorities they have. And one day, maybe, but I personally don't believe it will happen soon, but it would be cool if they just have a revolution and started fights against one another. Yeah, because to me, it's a failed country already, but yeah, it's just my opinion and like how they've been our neighbors for such a long time, and what terrible consequences it had. Yeah, but obviously we need to be in a position of strength. We need to have these weapons because, like, when someone is saying that Ukraine doesn't have cards, our army is right now one of the well-trained and, one of the army who has the most experience with drones with the modern war. So probably in the future we will be teaching other armies and sharing our experience because we already know how to do all that, and we're actually fighting against, again, second strongest army in the world. All these jokes which are saying that, oh, Russians are funny, not that strong, like there are a lot of them, and some of them are sick. Some of them just come to rape, destroy, and kill, just because of what they believe in, because of what they were taught or what they were said. And it's an existential fight right now, and I believe Ukraine has a lot of experience in that to share in the future. So we're definitely strong. We definitely know how to use weapon we got, or how to learn fast to do something with it. And the recent attacks on Russian military targets is just a great example of how precise we can be and how good we can work and help this serious operations, in which again Russia, just kept killing more and more civilians, and that's it. Like we are not killing civilians. We were never
Yeah,
targeting
and
them.
that's
So
what I don't understand is what was it? Something about the bridge or something about the bridge in Crimea or something that they were saying, oh, there were six civilians killed. I'm thinking, okay, well, if they were, I mean, six is not doesn't compare to probably over a million civilians. I would say probably I won't say a million, maybe not that many, but I know that Mariupol doesn't exist anymore. Bakhmut doesn't exist anymore. I mean, a lot of these people died in their homes, died in, I mean, so there's, I think more civilians have died than there has been Ukrainian military, actually. I would think from what I've seen on, even when we were living there, we lived there until June of 22, and people really don't understand. That's why I want to do this channel, is so I can make people more aware, because I would wake up and I could see it looks like I was living outside of Atlanta airport with all the contrails going back and forth this way, and it wasn't airplanes, that was missiles. And it's like, you see at least 20 or 30 lines over Kiev. I mean, every morning. I'm like, why is anyone not, why is NATO? Why is, EU, why is not more being done? And maybe, maybe EU or European Union is now starting to do a little more. I don't know. I would like to think that they are, but I would like to see my own country do more too. Uh, Preferably in newer weapons. Um, we're gonna end up in it anyway if Ukraine doesn't end it soon. I Because there's so much other things going on right now in the world that I really believe that that will happen soon. And I really don't want that for Ukraine, because if we physically get involved, I would be afraid that Russia would attack more, I mean, than what they already are, with heavier weapons, with bigger weapons, and destroy more of Ukraine than what's already been destroyed. So if we could do it by weapons and end it quickly, or I come up with a brilliant idea. I forget who I was talking to, and I said, Ukrainian drones should attack in Moscow where Lenin's body is resting and destroy that building, because the people in the Kremlin really support, or they really idolize uh, Lenin. I'm like, what better way than just to destroy the building where Lenin is at? Because to me, that just shows how sick the Kremlin is and how sick the people that support what they're doing. They're keeping a body basically like it's alive. I mean, not alive, but still looks almost the same. And that's like I mean, it's like it's almost as important to, I think, to the people of Russia as Red Square. So why not destroy it? I
remember just a couple months ago, I think. Yeah, sometimes, this freedom of speech in America just drives me a little bit crazy because basically everyone could express their opinion, even if it's a terrorism or, it's
yeah.
basically it's very weird. I don't know. And so Russians got on the streets with their yearly parade of Immortal Regiment. But basically this Immortal Regiment, this is kind of a movement paid by Kremlin. Ukrainian territories, they're kind of showing pictures of World War II veterans. Um, but at the same time, they're also holding not only their portraits, but Russian flags with pictures of Stalin and all other kinds of stuff. So basically, they're just hiding propaganda behind these pictures of veterans. Oh, we're just commemorating our veterans, right? But then came to they marched all the way from the White House to the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. Right in front of the Lincoln Memorial, they waved Russian flag. They were dancing their traditional dances, screaming this like propaganda songs, whatever. So they were just laughing from us. We did counter demonstration, obviously. Police were really kind of defending them because they had a permit, they applied. And I was like, what if, some ISIS guys applied for the permit? Would you let them also march through here or not? Or do you consider them more dangerous than Russians?
I think the
And,
people doing that from Russia, I think I, I wish there would be a way of deporting them. Um,
exactly, like, dangerous people should be deported. This is the first people who should be deported, okay?
I mean,
Not,
I mean, we should be deporting. What do you want to call it? Uh, hardworking people from. I know that they're concentrating almost solely on Mexico for some reason, and I think if someone comes in and if they come in illegally, you track them down, give them an option. Look, you can come into the country if you do everything legally. We're going to register you here. We will track where you're. We have to know where you're at all times. If you don't tell us where you're at, you go home. And try to make it not easy for them. They shouldn't just be able to walk in and say, "Okay, this is my home." You know. Um, I mean, I think we should open the doors to a point, but do everything by legal means. I think we should do away with the IRS and put those people in immigration. I think that would be something wonderful. Do away with the ATF, put those people working for immigration, um, and do things like that. I mean, we don't need all the politicians we have. Uh, I think there need to be terms. I mean, now I'm getting political, but I guess, there should be terms and they shouldn't be making millions and millions of dollars while they're in office. They should never make more than their constituents, shall I say. It's wrong. They should not be able to do that. I mean, they should be like a normal citizen. All right, so I want to thank you for your time and I will talk to you soon.
okay, thank you. Bye bye.